Welcome. Today we're embarking on an in-depth exploration into the life cycle of a single collectible figure.
Hmm.
And it's a phenomenon so pervasive, it has rocketed, really, right past the traditional toy market.
It's gone so far beyond that.
It really has. It's
Yeah.
touching on global, high finance, deep-seated religious traditions, local political campaigns, and maybe most surprisingly, even international government bans. We are talking about Labubu.
It is genuinely remarkable when you look at the source material just how much cultural and financial weight is currently held by this one character.
Right.
Our mission for this examination is precisely to trace that unexpected trajectory, to
Yeah.
explore how a figure that began as an independent, sort of scruffy-looking art figure, rooted deeply in the mythology of Northern Europe.
Right, from this very specific place.
Exactly. How it could transition into a mass-market, multi-billion-dollar IP that is at the same time being worshipped as a wealth-bringing amulet in Southeast Asia and legislatively banned in parts of the Middle East.
That dual nature is what makes this so compelling. It presents a fascinating paradox right from the very
It
start.
really does.
Our sources describe Labubu consistently as an adorable furry monster with sharp teeth,
Hmm.
or a creature that is, and I like this description, kind of ugly, but huggable.
That's the sweet spot, isn't it?
It is that calculated blending of the cute, the soft, round body with the chaotic, that slightly terrifying grin is absolutely central to understanding its unprecedented global appeal
Yeah.
and its surprising influence across wildly different cultures.
Let's focus on that blend for a moment. It's a carefully engineered aesthetic that leverages, modern consumer psychology. To truly understand its dominance, we have to start at the very beginning,
With the artist.
with the artist who dreamt up this curious little creature.
The story begins with the creator, Kasing Lung. He was born in Hong Kong in 1972, but his roots are deeply international.
And that's so important to the story.
It is. That global upbringing is stamped all over his artistic output. He spent his imaginative years being raised in Utrecht, in the Netherlands,
Okay.
before he eventually settled down to pursue his artistic career in Antwerp, Belgium.
That international background, Hong Kong, the Netherlands, Belgium, it gives him this unique cross-cultural sensibility.
Right.
It allowed him to fuse an Eastern artistic presentation with a distinctly European mythical underpinning.
I see.
Labubu was conceived as part of Lung's story series called The Monsters, and crucially, he based this entire visual universe on the Nordic folklore and mythology that captivated him during his childhood in Europe.
That's a key detail because when we get to the conspiracy theories later on,
Oh, yes.
that foundation in Nordic folklore is really the only counterargument against those occult claims. But let's delve into the actual design. The monsters are, at their core, traditional zoomorphic elves.
So animal-like mythical creatures.
Exactly. Labubu specifically has that round, furry body, exaggerated facial expressions, famously large and pointed ears, and a scruffy, slightly unkempt look.
But if you had to pick one signature feature, the thing that makes Labubu instantly recognizable,
It has to be the teeth.
it is absolutely the teeth. It has precisely 9 sharp teeth, forming that highly distinctive, mischievous, almost devilish smile.
And that's specific number 9. It's not just a random detail.
No, it's not. It becomes a point of trivia that's actually critical later on when collectors are trying to spot the counterfeit versions.
It's the central figure, but it's not alone. It belongs to a tribe called the Monsters. Can you give us a sense of the wider universe Lung created here?
Certainly. And it's a very cohesive world that gives Labubu context. The tribe includes figures like Makoko, who is often depicted as a small sprout or, a seed creature.
Right.
There's also Pato, Spooky, and Taikoko, who is described in the lore as Labubu's skeleton-looking boyfriend.
Interesting.
And then there's Zimomo, who is the tribe leader and stands out with this really formidable spiked tail.
So it's a whole world.
It's a whole world. And while the entire Monsters IP is massive, Labubu became the face, the ambassador, the one who broke out of the box and achieved mass recognition.
So now we make that absolutely critical transition from independent art, which is what Kasing Lung was producing, to global commerce.
This is a turning point.
Right. Labubu was introduced in 2015, initially produced by a company called How To Work. But the inflection point, the moment this character went from a niche art figure collected by enthusiasts to a phenomenon that crashed websites, that occurred after the partnership with the China-based retailer POP MART started in 2019.
And POP MART now produces and sells the toy exclusively, and that single decision changed everything.
How so?
That partnership provided the necessary infrastructure for just staggering commercial scale. POP MART is a powerhouse in mass market retail and distribution, particularly within Asia.
And they specialize in the model that fueled this.
They specialize in the specific distribution model that fueled this entire mania. By 2025, the brand had released well over 300 different Labubu figurines.
300. And when you look at the price range, you immediately understand the business strategy.
You do.
It's about democratizing the entry point, but maintaining that kind of high art exclusivity at the top end.
Right.
You can buy entry-level vinyl figures, about 8 centimeters or, say, 3 inches tall, for around $15. This is accessible to almost anyone.
Correct. But then the line scales all the way up to the mega editions,
Okay.
which are large, limited-run pieces. These figures, they measure 79 centimeters, or about 31 inches tall, and they retail for $960.
So they're blurring the line between a toy and, a decorative art object?
Precisely.
But even those retail prices are just dwarfed by the secondary market valuation.
They are.
And this is where we get a true understanding of its status as a high-value collectible. Here's where it gets, really interesting. Our sources detail a jaw-dropping sale that occurred in June 2025.
I know the one we're talking about.
A massive 4-foot-tall, 1.2-meter mint green Labubu sold for an incredible $170,000 at the first official Labubu auction held in Beijing.
$170,000. The velocity of that value creation is just astonishing. It's vital to distinguish here. A $15 mass-produced toy, when it's elevated through scarcity, size, and branding,
It becomes an asset.
it transforms into an asset that commands prices comparable to established contemporary art.
Right.
That auction result legitimizes the IP not just as a profitable toy line, but as a serious collectible category that draws in high net worth investors, not just toy enthusiasts.
And the financial implications for POP MART itself are overwhelming. The revenue generated by the Monsters IP tells the most succinct story of that accelerated growth.
The numbers are staggering.
In 2024, revenue from the single IP was RMB 3.04 billion. That's approximately 430 million US dollars. Yeah. And that figure alone represented 23.3% of POP MART's total annual revenue.
So almost a quarter of their business from one character family.
Yes. And if you track the growth trajectory, that pace just intensified dramatically.
It really did.
In the first half of 2025 alone, the Monsters generated RMB 4.81 billion, or about $670 million.
In 6 months.
In 6 months. The character line now accounts for 34.7% of POP MART's entire revenue for that period. That is the definition of a single intellectual property carrying the weight of a massive global corporation.
And this financial explosion has had a very direct, very dramatic effect on the company's leadership.
It certainly has.
POP MART CEO Wang Ning's stake in the company secured him a fortune of $21.1 billion as of July 2025.
What's fascinating here is the sheer velocity of that wealth spike. He went from a roughly $1.8 billion fortune in 2024 to over $21 billion in a single year.
Just solely on the back of this explosive growth.
Right, and that jump made him one of China's top 10 youngest billionaires at the relatively youthful age of, 37 or 38?
That kind of rapid wealth accumulation, tied to a product that is essentially a $15 monster elf, it just illustrates the current power of manufactured digital hype, combined with brilliant physical distribution.
So how does a cute, chaotic little elf generate multi-billion-dollar revenue streams and turn its CEO into one of the world's youngest billionaires?
It wasn't just the design.
No, it was a perfect storm of design, distribution, and I think most importantly, psychology.
And at the very core of this distribution model is the blind box.
The engine.
The blind box model is the engine driving the consumer mania and the subsequent financial returns. Labubu figures are frequently released in sealed, opaque packaging where the specific toy inside is concealed.
It's chosen completely at random from a themed line.
Completely at random.
So explain the psychological hook in detail. This isn't just about selling a toy, is it? It's about selling an experience, a mystery, a chase.
Exactly.
Why does that surprise factor work so well to drive repeat purchasing, and why is this model so addictive?
Well, it capitalizes directly on what's called a variable ratio reward schedule.
Okay.
It's the same mechanism that drives slot machines and video game loot boxes. The brain receives a burst of dopamine simply from the act of uncertainty and anticipation.
Right.
And critically, each theme series contains not only the advertised set of designs, but also a rare, usually 1 in 144 or 1 in 288, secret figure.
A secret figure. That's the real incentive.
Exactly. Knowing there's a hidden, high-value, highly collectible item in the mix transforms the consumer decision. It's no longer about buying a toy, it's about gambling for the high-value item or chasing the full set.
Which fuels compulsive buying.
And high demand, it encourages collectors not just to buy one box, but to buy entire cases, hoping to secure the complete collection and, crucially, that rare high-value secret.
And this secondary market hype is what creates the $170,000 auction pieces.
That's where it comes from.
So that system created the internal demand. But the moment the mania truly went global, moving from collector culture to mainstream fashion accessory, that was driven by celebrity.
Oh, yes.
And we can pinpoint the exact moment of massive viral growth, April 2024.
That month, K-pop group Blackpink member Lisa was spotted with a specific keychain Labubu attached to her bag.
A critical cultural inflection point.
Absolutely. The image of one of the world's most influential fashion and music figures accessorizing a high-end designer bag with a 9-toothed, scruffy monster provided instant, undeniable validation.
And the effect was not gradual. It was instantaneous.
Not at all.
It sparked an immediate, intense trend that swept across East and Southeast Asia, catapulting Labubu from a popular collectible to what was effectively a required fashion accessory overnight.
And the celebrity endorsements just cemented its status. Our sources detail further high-profile endorsements from figures known for their trend-setting, like Rihanna and Cher. But perhaps more telling of its mainstream integration, the toy moved into promotional efforts for unrelated films. We saw actors like Javier Bardem interacting with the toy as part of major film marketing campaigns, signaling that the character itself had acquired enough recognizable star power to aid in selling other products.
The cultural analysts were paying attention too. I saw the New York Times noted its unique, chaotic, cute appeal.
They did.
Making specific comparisons to iconic characters like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch and Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon.
And those characters share that same blend of sort of initial menace or ugliness that gives way to overwhelming adorableness.
Right.
And what's fascinating here is that the article credited the specific appeal, this chaotic, cute archetype, with influencing a seasoned surge in cute sidekick characters across major studio films.
Who actually called it?
They literally dubbed this phenomenon the Labubu effect.
Wow.
It shows the toy didn't just capitalize on trends, it was actively setting them within the broader entertainment and design industries.
So we have a character that blurs the line between a toy, a fashion accessory, and a pop culture influencer. And POP MART wisely realized they couldn't just stay in the blind box market. They leveraged this popularity for significant brand collaborations.
And even attempted high culture integration to cement the character's artistic legitimacy.
Right.
Absolutely. They moved quickly into premium and co-branded figures, tapping into existing massive fandoms. Late 2024 saw the release of a Coca-Cola-themed winter blind box series featuring 11 figures.
I remember that one.
And in early 2025, they released a massive 13-figurine line where the monsters were reimagined as characters from the globally popular manga and anime One Piece.
That's a huge crossover.
A very strategic co-branding that ensures the toy remains relevant across multiple consumer demographics at the same time.
And then demonstrating the brand's artistic ambition, which, it connects back to Lung's origins as an art figure designer.
Right.
Figures have been released exclusively at various highbrow museums. Our sources specifically mentioned the Labubu's Artistic Quest series.
Yes.
Which was sold at POP MART's dedicated store located at the Louvre in Paris.
And that is a critical strategic move. Placing a mass-produced, high-hype collectible inside one of the world's most respected art museums elevates its perceived value and cultural status instantly.
It changes the conversation around it.
It does. It allows POP MART to market the product not as a mere novelty, but as accessible modern art, a necessary step for justifying that $170,000 secondary market price tag.
This is where the story takes a truly surreal turn. What's fascinating here is not just the commercial success, but the speed and ease with which this character was assimilated into completely unexpected cultural, and even political roles.
Roles entirely divorced from its intended purpose as a collectible elf.
Exactly.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it just shows the power of the symbol itself. When something goes viral globally, its meaning is, in a way, lost to the artist.
It's dictated by consumer appropriation.
Exactly.
So let's start with the most surprising cultural adoption. The sacred and spiritual uses, particularly in Thailand in 2024. Due to the character's massive viral visibility, many Thais began to form a collective belief that Labubu's image could actually function as a bringer of wealth and good fortune.
This is a remarkable example of modern consumer culture intersecting with ancient animistic and Buddhist beliefs that are prevalent in the region.
And that belief led to tangible, real-world religious practices.
It did. Labubu's image was incorporated into traditional Thai cultural items,
Such as?
resulting in its likeness being made into Buddhist amulets, small worn tokens believed to hold protective or beneficial power, and even sacred tattoos applied by practitioners.
Wait, hold on. So a mass-produced collectible, effectively a piece of mass-produced plastic, is being given the same reverence and spiritual power as ancient Buddhist relics or traditional folklore features. How do cultural experts even justify that speed of assimilation?
It's justified largely through speed and association. In the age of social media, belief can be manufactured and spread instantly.
Yeah.
The key is visibility and perceived look. When a celebrity is seen with the item and then experiences great success, the item is instantly imbued with power.
It becomes a symbol of that success.
Exactly. And furthermore, the practice of adopting new icons for luck is common in consumer-driven societies. Labubu became the modern, fashionable replacement for older, perhaps less visually exciting amulets.
Especially appealing to younger generations.
Particularly appealing to younger, wealthier generations, yes.
We also see this intersection with official, traditional religious festivals in Singapore.
Yes, the Nine Emperor Gods Festival in October 2024. The Lin Bao Dian Temple decided to integrate collectible toy elements for the very first time.
And the goal was to attract younger people.
Precisely. To attract younger generations who might otherwise ignore the week-long religious proceedings.
So what did they do?
Specifically, the temple featured 4 Labubu figurines dressed as devotees. These dolls were meticulously clothed in miniature white shirts, white hats, and yellow sashes, designed to participate throughout the duration of the festivities, visible near the altars. The temple's motivation was purely outreach, innovation, and relevance.
But this naturally sparked a serious social debate. Break down the specific arguments from both sides of this religious discussion for us.
Well, on one side, you had the proponents, mostly younger devotees, who found the integration brilliant, cute, and culturally innovative.
They liked it.
They praised the temple for using modern pop culture to bridge generational gaps in religious practice and make the temple environment more approachable. And it worked. The event videos and photos successfully drew young people to the temple to see the figurines in person.
So it achieved the goal of engagement.
It did.
And the critics.
The critics, often older or more orthodox members of the community, questioned if this was fundamentally disrespectful to the deities and the sanctity of a centuries-old festival. They argued that commercializing the space with a hyper-trendy mass-market product diluted the spiritual focus.
So the temple had to respond.
The temple had to step in and issue a clear clarification, stating emphatically that the toys were merely acting as symbolic devotees.
And the offerings.
They were neither offerings nor objects of worship themselves. They underscored that no disrespect to the enshrined deities was intended, but the debate itself highlights Labubu's contentious power to integrate across sacred and commercial lines.
And if we needed more evidence of the character's versatile symbolic power, we find it being used as a grassroots political symbol.
Indeed. Our sources detail its use in Singaporean politics in September 2024.
Which party?
The People's Action Party, specifically their Sengkang team, integrated a Labubu plush keychain into a senior citizen grocery distribution event.
And the doll was dressed in a miniature white shirt bearing the recognizable PP logo.
It was.
Lam Pinmin, the chairman of the PPP Sengkang West branch, specifically labeled the tiny plush figure as the team's latest and cutest volunteer.
It's an unusual, almost absurd example of a highly commercialized art toy being deployed as a political communication tool.
And the motivation is clear.
Very clear. To leverage the character's immense popularity and chaotic, cute appeal, to inject approachability, novelty, and youth relevance into a political campaign event.
To signal that the party is modern.
And connected to contemporary trends. The doll featured prominently in the team's official social media photos and in a subsequent TikTok video, demonstrating its function as a political mascot designed for virality.
So the colossal success and deep cultural assimilation we've discussed inevitably generated a significant negative reaction.
Of course.
A cycle that went from consumer chaos in the physical world all the way to formal government bans and even intense spiritual controversy.
This is where the manufactured desire led to real-world friction.
And the demand itself became volatile. We know that the sheer immediate demand for newly released Labubus was high enough to crash POP MART's official e-commerce website on at least one occasion.
Right, which confirms the intense online frenzy for the drop.
But the retail chaos escalated far beyond server issues, especially in physical stores where scarcity was managed poorly. And here's where we need to address the human cost of this manufactured mania.
Absolutely. It's important to show sympathy for the consumers caught up in this obsession.
It is.
In May 2025, the situation became genuinely dangerous. POP MART was forced to pause selling Labubus entirely in all 16 of its physical stores across the United Kingdom.
And this wasn't a supply issue, right?
No, it was a safety concern. The pause was explicitly due to multiple reports of customers fighting over them.
Fighting.
Physical fights. They had to impose the temporary ban until June to prevent any potential safety issues related to the highly sought-after figures.
That indicates a breakdown of civility. People were physically fighting over a small $15 vinyl elf. That's a dangerous level of consumer obsession driven by manufactured scarcity.
The psychological model worked too well.
It did.
And this incident raises an important ethical question about the blind box marketing model itself. Critics argue vehemently that this entire system, designed to fuel surprise and scarcity, encourages overconsumption, emotional dependency, and financial exploitation.
They're essentially selling a gambling addiction.
Wrapped in cute packaging, yes.
Editorials have weighed in heavily on this, referring to the fan culture surrounding Labubu and similar blind box figures as a reflection of modern consumer idolatry. They argue it promotes highly materialist values and compels individuals to spend exorbitant amounts driven by that psychological need to collect every single variant.
Including the elusive secret ones.
Exactly.
And the psychological concerns over the toy's design, specifically that nine-tooth grin, also triggered official government actions.
Right.
This signals that the controversy had escalated beyond consumer culture and into matters of national regulation and public health.
Let's start with Russia. What was the governmental rationale there?
In Russia, members of the Federation Council proposed banning the dolls in 2025. This action was primarily driven not by commerce, but by their perceived frightening appearance.
Frightening.
Yes. Ekaterina Altabayeva, a deputy chair, stated publicly that the figures could potentially inflict harm on children's mental health.
So the argument was that the demonic-looking features were causing children to experience undue fear.
That was the core of it.
And there was a specific regulatory layer to the Russian proposal as well, wasn't there?
Yes, there was. Tatiana Butskaya reported that the dolls were being sold in violation of specific Russian regulations due to the lack of Russian language labeling on the packaging.
Ah, technicality.
She argued they did not properly indicate the manufacturing origin or safety information in the local language, which provided a regulatory hook for the government to initiate inspection and potential prohibition based on content.
And this governmental concern wasn't limited to Eastern Europe.
Not at all.
The Kurdistan region of Iraq imposed an absolute ban in July 2025, and their rationale was even more dramatically rooted in that spiritual controversy.
It was. Authorities in the Erbil area seized over 4,000 dolls, removing them from circulation entirely.
And the formal rationale?
The formal rationale for the ban was based on claims that the toy caused behavioral problems in children and, according to pervasive global media reports, contained demonic spirits.
So a blending of behavioral concern with actual supernatural claims.
Yes, and that led to a complete prohibition.
That direct allegation of demonic spirits leads us directly into the spiritual controversies surrounding the toy's appearance, which gained massive traction on social media.
Right. Labubu's sharp-toothed grin and slightly eerie aesthetic, that chaotic, cute balance we talked about, were interpreted through a non-Nordic lens by some online communities.
Which led to widespread conspiracy theories.
Exactly. These theories specifically linked the character to Pazuzu.
The ancient Mesopotamian demon known for causing pestilence.
That's the one.
That is an immense cultural leap, from a Nordic elf to an ancient Babylonian deity. How do these theories even propagate?
They gain significant traction on highly visual platforms like TikTok and Reddit.
Of course.
Users would juxtapose images of Labubu with ancient Pazuzu artwork, highlighting the similar grins. This led to reports of some users claiming they experienced negative supernatural events.
And in extreme cases?
In extreme cases, publicly filming themselves destroying their dolls as a form of exorcism.
And it wasn't limited just to Pazuzu, was it?
No. Even outside of that specific link, generalized warnings spread. Pakistani actress Mishi Khan, for example, warned publicly that the dolls might attract negative spiritual energy or jinn.
Which are powerful, unseen spirits in Islamic theology.
Right, so this spiritual panic, regardless of its truth, profoundly affected consumer behavior in several religious regions.
And it is absolutely critical that we provide the cultural counter-perspective here to clarify the designer's intent against these occult claims.
Absolutely. The designers and cultural analysts who track this phenomenon completely dismiss these occult claims. They consistently point back to Kasing Lung's original artistic statement,
Which was?
that the character draws explicitly from European folklore and Nordic mythology, which includes mischievous sprites and elves, not from occult symbolism or Mesopotamian demons.
So the visual resemblance is purely coincidental.
A product of the ugly cute aesthetic, not malicious design.
As with any high-value, highly hyped collectible, massive popularity invites widespread counterfeiting.
Inevitably.
These imitation dolls have appeared globally, and they've even earned their own colloquially recognized nickname, Labubu.
The prevalence of these fakes is so high that POP MART has had to educate consumers internationally. Our sources detail specific differentiators.
Oh, can you spot one?
Fake Labubus or Labubu often have invalid or blurry QR codes on the box. They lack the official POP MART branding, and crucially, they often violate the signature feature.
The teeth?
They have more than the definitive 9 teeth. That 9-tooth count is the collector's gold standard for authenticity.
And the legal response to this fraud has been aggressive.
Extremely aggressive. POP MART has taken extensive legal action, including filing a lawsuit against major retailers.
Such as?
They sued 7-Eleven in California specifically for selling counterfeit toys.
Wow.
Which illustrates that the problem has infiltrated even major, reputable, mainstream retail chains in the West. It just underscores the complexity and global reach of the counterfeit operation.
And finally, we must mention that the doll has officially achieved the ultimate status symbol of American cultural recognition.
Integration into satire.
Exactly. A South Park episode in 2025 integrated Labubu into its storylines, confirming its status as a recognized symbol of modern consumer anxiety and global economics.
And what was the storyline?
The episode specifically featured the dolls becoming significantly more expensive due to Donald Trump's implemented tariffs.
Of course.
And leading into the darker aspects of the cultural controversy, the episode also depicted the dolls being used as part of satanic rituals.
So when a character reaches South Park,
it has truly transcended commerce and becomes a symbol of societal friction, economic absurdity, and spiritual commentary.
this in-depth exploration into the Labubu saga has revealed a remarkable demonstration of intersecting forces. You have independent art figure design, highly sophisticated scarcity marketing built on psychological compulsion, and extremely rapid viral cultural assimilation.
And all of this success, controversy, and billion-dollar revenue revolves around a simple, slightly ugly elf with 9 teeth.
Exactly.
What stands out to me is the character's ability to be a spiritual amulet in one place and a political mascot in another.
Right.
While simultaneously generating billions for its parent company and causing real-world behavioral issues like physical fighting in stores.
Its appeal relies on that calculated, highly lucrative blending of cuteness with chaos.
An aesthetic that transcends traditional toy boundaries.
And successfully blurs the line between mass-market consumerism, high-value art figures, and even spiritual tokens.
Indeed. The journey of Labubu shows how deep knowledge of Nordic mythology, when combined with a sudden, powerful K-pop endorsement and a masterfully managed blind box scarcity model, can create a global cultural firestorm, leading to its simultaneous adoption as a lucky amulet in Asia and its legislative rejection by governments in parts of Europe and the Middle East. It is a perfect encapsulation of modern, hyper-accelerated trends driven by manufactured desire.
Given the intense financial returns, the multi-billion-dollar revenue, and the profound societal friction, the fights, the bans, the spiritual confusion generated by the blind box and scarcity model, What lessons does the rise of Labubu teach us about managing consumer desire in an age of hyper-accelerated digital trends? And how will future collectible companies ethically manage the inherent tension between manufactured scarcity and public safety?
Thanks for listening.